TOC is proud to announce the opening of our new locations in Albertville and Hampton Cove, along with the grand opening of our newest office in Decatur. These clinics will offer the same high-quality orthopedic care you have come to associate with TOC, with the convenience of being closer to home. As a patient, your time is your most precious asset, and we recognize that at TOC. That's why we are also proud to announce the opening of our urgent ortho clinics to handle those bumps and bruises that need prompt attention. These clinics are available to care for acute orthopedic injuries with no appointment necessary. With 38 physicians, 20 centers of excellence, and now more than a dozen locations to serve you, TOC will continue to be the name you turn to for the best orthopedic care at the right time. Visit our website at visittoc.com for more information. TOC, helping you live a better life.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Well, we are all back, fully assembled, getting ready for the college football season. Of course, yesterday, you heard the last little bit of roundup. I still haven't played everything from last week in Dallas, Texas. SEC Media Days, but nonetheless, we'll get to my conversation that I had with Chris Doering later on, as well as a certain defensive lineman from the University of Kentucky, the pride of Detroit, Michigan. But we're live here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill, and never happier to be here on a Tuesday, West Neighbors. How are you?
No question. No question. It's good to be back here on Baumhauer's. I hadn't been out here on a Tuesday, except for today at lunch.
Well... nothing wrong with doubling up on Baumhauer's.
No, double up today.
And something tells me our first guest is going to agree with that as well. Right out of the gate, let's talk a little more college football with Reese Davis, who's kind enough to join us.
You know, I don't know, Reese. Do people with poodles eat wings?
Dude, I'm going to tell you, people with poodles are the toughest people. They're the superior humans. Because they understand the intellect and the appropriate ferocity of the canine when the situation dictates.
Ferocity, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I think you look up poodle in the dictionary. First thing it says is ferocious.
Well, I'm telling you, they're superior hunting dogs. They're the smartest breed. They don't shed, and they chase bears, and they don't really like alligators either. So, you know, I'm telling you, it's not to like.
Oh, goodness gracious. Many places I want to go with you, Reese, but right out of the gate, yeah, your podcast, the College Football Game Day podcast, really kind of re-alerted me on the format itself. And so much so, the playoff, college football playoff came out with a video about it voiced by Kirk Herbstreit. And I feel like playing it weekly during the season, Reese. What are your thoughts on just re-educating the fans about this process?
Well, first of all, the funniest thing about Herbstreit voicing that video is that here's how the conversation will go on Saturday night before Selection Day. And how are they doing it? Who gets to buy again? And I'll tell them, and they go, wow. Well, you voiced the video. Wow, really? Really? The Big 12 might not get a bye? Really? Anyway. I'm kidding. But, yeah, it's going to be a little bit different. And I think what I've suggested to our producers, and I think we're going to do it either week 0 or week 1, is I want to get in front of a board and we'll explain the things. But I think the thing that really drives it home is if you take the final rankings in the 2022 season, because that is the year that you have to sort of apply, like the old conference affiliations in order to make it to drive it home, I think. But if you look at the final rankings from that year, you would have two teams which were in the 14 playoff in TCU and Ohio State that would not have gotten by. And the next two teams in the rankings that season were Alabama and Tennessee. They would not have gotten by. So the other two teams to get buys in the first round in 2022, and this will be much easier than on a radio show for me to show it graphically, would be Clemson as champion of the ACC and Utah then as a conference champion of what was, then the Pac-12.
Yeah.
But you would have that same type of thing. So you could have, in this case, 4 teams ranked 3 through 6, none of whom were eligible to get buys because it's the 4 highest ranked conference champions. And then you also bring into play that if the other conference champion to get the automatic bid is ranked outside of the top 12, then they'll still get in, meaning that the team ranked 12th, if you stick with the 2022 example, that would mean that Washington would have been bumped in favor of Tulane, which is ranked 16th. I'm using a cheat sheet. I'm looking at the 22 rankings right now.
So who would Alabama play and where?
In that particular case, if it were just that way, and again, we're talking 2022, Alabama would have played Tulane and Tuscaloosa.
I think a lot of people are getting – a lot of fans are already excited about home playoff games.
I wish they were doing it in the first 2 rounds, right? That's what
well,
you know
what?
Yeah, the first round.
Wes and Steve, I think that more than anything else – now, we all understand that money is the number one driver. Aside from money or in addition to money, and there'll probably be some financial aspects that tie to this, the thing that will drive this expansion from 12 to 16, ultimately, in my judgment, will be that those top 4 with seeds go, wait a minute, in our example, what do you mean Alabama got a home playoff game? Oh, you know what? I steered you wrong about that. This is a perfect example of how I'm going to have to do better. Because let me go backwards here. That is not correct what I said about Alabama. I just randomly looked at 5-12. Because the 3-4 seeds would be gone, you'd move Clemson, Utah up to
That's right.
Clemson 3, Utah 4. That would mean TCU would be 5. TCU would have played Tulane and Fort Worth. Ohio State would then have been 6, and Ohio State would have played at home, and they would have played Penn State. They would have enjoyed that, I'm sure. They've played them again in Columbus. And then Alabama, in that case, would have been 7, and they would have played USC in Tuscaloosa. So I think I've got that right. I'll have it right when I have it on my board.
This is why I wanted to go here with you, because we study this up, and I know it's the 5 conference champions, the top 4 get the buys, but that 5th one, if they're ranked outside of the top 12, will go into that number 12. It feels like this is a tad bit more complicated than it needs to be, Reese.
Well, they're trying to reward, maybe so, but what they're doing, Steve, is they're trying to reward conference champions by giving us the buy, and still attach some significance to the conference championship game. In the case like last year is much more straightforward, because last year, using last year's conference affiliation, the top 4 would have in fact would have gotten by, and number 5 last year would have been Florida State. They would have been the last automatic. Am I getting this right? Yeah. Big 10.
That's
Pac
right.
12,
Yeah.
Big 12, SEC, ACC. Now, last year we would have had 6 and 6, but for our discussion here, let's just say 5. Florida State would have gotten the last automatic bid, and they're number 5. So it would not have applied under the format last year, offering the caveat that if we still had 5 major conferences, we would have had the 6 and 6 model, meaning 6 automatic bids and 6 at-larges. as opposed to what we're going to go with now, which is 5 automatic bids and 7 at larges. But last year is harder to show the potential confusion because it was pretty straightforward last year in terms of conference champions being ranked at the top.
I say that to say, I mean, when you really look at the depth, albeit, I realize the Big 12 thinks that they're pretty deep right now, but when you look at the depth of the SEC and the Big 10, how many truly you think open spots are there in the college football playoff, in your opinion, Reese?
I was just talking to my friend Rod. Well, they're all open now, but in terms of what to expect, I was talking to my friend Rod Gilmore the other night about this, and I think that we're looking at four from the SEC, possibly 5. But I'd say 4 from the SEC, likely. I would say 3 from B1G, likely, and possibly 4. I think you're going to get. I think you'll wind up with 2 from the ACC. You'll have the 1G5, and I think you'll get 1 from the Big 12. So that's where we're 7, 9, 10, 11. So that leaves one more spot to either get that 4th Big 10 team, 5th SEC team, or maybe a 2nd Big 12 team, or Notre Dame. And I think Notre Dame's got a really good shot of getting in the playoffs because I think they're going to be very good this year. And obviously that game at A&M Week 1 will be big for them, but it won't be the be all end all as it might have been in some past years.
And that's the other part where you don't have to pitch a perfect game in order to make this if you have the resume and the strength of schedule. But I do wonder if we're going to have that word load management that we hear so often in the NBA circles. And we see it a little bit in the NFL, especially late before the playoffs kick in, whether or not we're going to see that strategy-wise this season in college football, Reese.
Possibly, Steve, but I think that might be a few years down the road. College coaches change slowly, as you know, and I would be a little surprised to see them jump on that bandwagon unless there's some type of wild scenario where, a Georgia or Ohio State or Oregon or something, they're undefeated 2 games clear of the field,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're something like that, then maybe, but otherwise you're going to have some seeding ramifications. You're going to have some, you want to get in your conference championship game. You want to, if you're in the conference championship game, you want to win it so you get the bye. All of those types of things I think will mitigate that, at least for a while. So hopefully we won't get into that. My bigger concern or thing that I think I will miss a little bit is I do understand the value of making a game, say since you guys are broadcasting from North Alabama, an SEC game between 2 teams unlikely to make the SEC championship game, yet still right in the middle of the playoff race. It gives that a little more juice in an early November matchup. But I do think that the one thing that has been unique to college football has been that type of be-all, end-all feel to a regular season game. Now, sometimes it doesn't work out that way because Michigan and Ohio State felt that way a couple of years ago. Michigan won the game and the cards fell right for the Buckeyes and they got in anyway. Or, even back in the old BCS days when Alabama LSU in 2011, the first meeting felt like be-all, end-all. LSU won, and then it worked out. Alabama got another shot. But, so it hasn't always worked out that way. But the one thing that week to week, when you go into those games and the anticipation that builds for a gargantuan regular season game where the loser feels as if it has a tremendous uphill battle ahead of them if they can't pull out a victory or in some cases feel like they will be eliminated if they lose the game. There's some value to that, and no other sport has that in the regular season, and we've sacrificed that. But I've said many times, maybe it's just time to pay that price because nothing comes without a cost, and nothing comes without some risk. And so I think that probably most of the fans seem to want this. the on-campus playoff games will just be awesome. Can't wait to see those. So that's a real upside to it. But it's not all seashells and balloons. There are some costs that have to be paid with this too.
So yeah, that there are going to be several 3-loss teams make this playoff.
Probably, and we're going to over time we will probably look at things a little bit more like they do in the NFL. Did you win the last game? And we still do look at it that way in college football, but there are still times when the champion, if it's not, a perfect Michigan team like last year, you'll go, wow, great champion. Oh, so close to perfect. And it's kind of, like even Georgia, the first year they won it and that's yet another example of a team that, got a second opportunity. So it's not as if all of these gargantuan games that feel like everything always work out that way. But, even that team, you thought, man, I know they went undefeated the next year, but you felt, oh, so close to being undefeated. Undefeated is going to be really, really cool always, but it's probably not going to feel the same or feel like it's as necessary to have you be deemed a truly great team as it once was.
So my big takeaway last week of SEC Media Days, by the way, talking to Reese Davis right now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, is talking to one of your colleagues, and that would be Coach Nick Saban, and just casually strolling by for 3 of the 4 days. And so I asked him how much film study he's doing, and he just looked at me and just started giggling a little bit like, if you only knew. So, I mean, it sounds like because hearing from Paul Feinbaum as well that they would get up on the desk and analyze, Paul said openly that he would just shut up and let Nick talk because he was more interested in what he had to say. He was great. He was great last week.
He was tremendous at the draft. The guy, he's just really good at television, and he's preparing like crazy. We shot probably early June. In fact, I just had a look at the rough cuts today. Wait till you see even more of his acting prowess in the Home Depot commercials coming up. But I was with him for a couple of days in June, and at this point, he was locked in, if not almost fixated, on preparing for SEC Media Days. And he said, well, it just seems like that we're just going to make, predictions. I said, yeah, but I think you would prepare for it in a similar fashion the way you prepare to talk about your team. And then I get word later that he has like a half hour on the phone between that time and the start of Media Days with every coach in the SEC. And, watching all of the tape and film. And, we're going to try to really tap into that, not only the expertise in football, but the spectacular ability to communicate thoughts. And, I'm really, really looking forward. He's fit right in, and he's been just as you would expect. He wants to be great at everything he does. Several of us from that shoot had gone out to dinner the night before, and I told him the next day, I said, we probably owe you an apology. I said, we talked a lot more and should have listened a lot more and let you talk. And sort of true to form, he said, when you guys are talking about television and the way this is going to work and the people involved and what they do and what we need to do to, have a great show, he goes, I'm all ears. I'm trying. I want to learn this. He's unbelievable, man. His curiosity and his desire to be great at anything that he attaches his name to is really impressive.
Reese, I've seen you guys several times, and he looks so natural and so relaxed with you. But he was sitting next to McElroy about day 3, and I swear he looked like North Korea had captured him. And he just was tired and didn't want to say anything else. And I don't know if he just felt uncomfortable with McElroy there or what was going on, but that's exactly what he looked like. And later he said that
I thought you were just thought you were just making a joke. You're not taking a real shot at my guy Greg McElroy, are you?
No, no, this is not a shot. It's just the truth. I mean, that's exactly what he looked like. Tom said, look at Saban down there. I said, yeah, he looked like he's been captured by North Korea, and he's up there for propaganda. Then later on, he said that he told Kalen DeBoer he'd never questioned it in anything. And he said, well, McElroy probably want to call the plays. So he took a shot at McElroy. I'm not taking a shot at McElroy.
That's a pretty funny line. But, hey, let me tell you, Greg probably feels liberated to respond in kind now that he's a colleague more than he's former quarterback, former player, but he's also colleague now, so he's free to respond in kind if he'd like.
Yeah, maybe my favorite quote came from Tyler Booker, the Alabama offensive lineman, when he did not pick Alabama to be in the SEC championship game, calling Coach Saban now outside noise, something that I do not listen to.
Yeah.
What he said, I think Tyler at one point too said something to the effect of, well, he taught me not to listen to a guy sitting in his mom's basement, let him affect how I feel. I'm not going to let that affect.
That's right. That's right.
That was pretty funny. That was
y'all
really
need to
good.
do a commercial with Coach Saban in his mom's basement. What y'all need to do?
Oh, goodness. So, I mean, gearing up, what's next for you, Reese? Just getting ready for game day?
Yeah, we're getting ready for the season. Week 0 is going to be in Dublin with Georgia Tech and Florida State. So really excited about that trip and go over a few days early and experience that. And I know they're very excited to have us show up there, and we're grateful to be there. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great start to the season, and then we go to College Station for Notre Dame and Texas A&M. Week 1 on campus, which would be great, the start of the Mike Elko era. And I think they have a chance to be maybe a little bit better than people think. I'm going to have the opportunity to call the USC-LSU game with Kirk on Sunday night of week 1. And then the next week I'll get a chance to call Tennessee and North Carolina State. So I'm going to be doing a little double duty the first couple of weeks, which I'm really excited about. It's a great way to start the season.
How real was that story about USC wanting to back out of that game?
You know what? I would be speculating. Maybe they did. I mean, I can understand with the transition that maybe they want to look at it differently. But I think that I've heard people talk about trying to back out of games like that. Programs at that level need to just go ahead and play them, especially as Wes was saying earlier. There will losing 3 games, if you play well, won't be disqualifying. Now,
yeah,
if you go and you get beaten soundly, once, or just it's just say a 10-point loss, and then you get thumped once, and then you lose one on a field goal. Well, that might be disqualifying. But
if you lose by 20 at home, only Ohio State can survive that.
Exactly. I mean, if you lose if you get hammered, like for years and years and years, and I know everybody has talked about last year with the playoff, but people who were sort of my mindset that you don't just count the losses, you evaluate the season in its entirety. They looked at the 2016 playoff when Penn State knocked off Ohio State with that blocked field goal. Penn State won the Big Ten, but they had 2 losses, one of them a non-conference loss. And they didn't make the playoff, and Ohio State did. That was the only loss Ohio State had. Now, forget how Ohio State played in the playoffs. I think, if my memory serves, I think that's the year Clemson smashed them. But
yeah,
between those 2 teams, I thought the right choice was Ohio State. And the reason wasn't because Penn State lost 2 games. It was because one of those games they lost 49-10. Michigan beat them that year 49-10. When you have a small field like that, or really any size field, if the determination comes down to teams with similar records, 1 or 2 losses, 2 versus 3 losses, and one of those losses is 49-10. Well, that needs to carry some weight. I mean, Ohio State that year had one loss prior to the playoff, and it came on a blocked field goal return. I mean, that's different than losing 49-10. And so I think those types of things still should be evaluated, but just in terms of just counting losses, I think maybe over the course of time we're going to start seeing less and less of that. And certainly Florida State fans would hasten to point out that last year was the first example of not counting losses or whatever, and granting playoff berths to teams with lesser records.
By the way, one sidebar, Rich. Rich Clark, the new CFB, hard not to be thoroughly impressed with the leadership that he provides. Not taking nothing away from my guy who's probably in London right now and getting ready for the Olympics, flying his way down to Paris, and Bill Hancock. But Rich Clark was as impressive as anything last week.
I've had a chance to just meet him a couple of times, and I think we're scheduled to do something together in a couple of weeks at one of our preseason seminars. I'm looking forward to getting to know him better, but I agree with you. He certainly gives you the type of presence that one would expect given a man with his credentials and background. And, he's a very engaging guy. I enjoyed meeting him on a couple of brief occasions that I have up to this point, and I look forward to getting to know him better over the course of the season. I think he'll do an outstanding job, and really, transitional time for the sport and for the playoffs.
So from the program itself, with Coach Saban a part of the show, is this going to decrease the amount that we're going to see of LC, or what's going to be different in the show, if you know?
No, I don't think that's the way to look at it. Not much is going to change, if anything, for LC. This is just in addition to. This is a chance not only to bring the greatest coach in the history of the sport, but also a guy who happens to be particularly gifted as a communicator, and bring him in and add him to our show. And so I wouldn't look at it that way. I mean, now, look, are all of us going to have to share the ball a little bit more because there is another person there? I mean, that's kind of self-evident, but otherwise I wouldn't look at it in terms of, someone being on more or less as a result. But, Nick is not coming in to make cameos. He's out there the whole way, and we've got some really cool things that are in the working stages that we're planning to, showcase his abilities. And the other thing too is, you guys know from being around him for so many years, I mean, his wit is quick and dry, and he's not afraid to use it. And that part of it's going to play very well with our merry cast there. And obviously, Pat, he and Pat have a really good relationship too, and that's that'll be a fun aspect of it as well.
Yeah, he had a good zinger to Paul Feinbaum last week about Paul mentioning something about how it's not as good covering this league compared to the previous 17 years. And I believe Nick said something to the effect of, well, now you know how I feel.
Yeah. Paul's out there. Paul's in mid-season form trying to get guys whacked. He's already after poor old Lincoln Riley already.
Yeah. Yeah, he certainly is.
Well, if Lincoln make him feel better, he was after Nick 2 years ago, right? Said he was done.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
You know what, the thing is, though, kidding aside, is that, Paul is fearless, and he's also reflective of what a lot of fans think. He as well as anyone I know in media, really is in touch with his audience. He knows what his people and what the fans in sport are thinking. And, he'll challenge that. It doesn't mean, I'm not implying that he parrots that. I'm just saying that he has a good feel for it, and then knows how to turn it into entertaining radio.
There is no doubt about that. Reese, always appreciate the time, sir, and safe travels to you, and we'll be watching. There's no doubt about that.
We'll be looking for Coach Saban's North Korean stare.
The North Korean death stare? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, the captain stare.
About week 13, he might start looking at me like that. So sitting out there in Moulton, Montana, with sub-zero temperatures and the generators freezing up, he might be looking at it and going, "What have I done?" But he's going to be great. He's going to be great.
Thank you, Reese.
All right, Reese. Thank you.
All right, guys.
That is Reese Davis. That video that I was referencing, here is the audio of it. This is from Kirk Herbstreit. This was released yesterday by the College Football Playoff Committee just to explain exactly what the format is here this season in this 12-team playoff format.
The 12-team college football playoff is here. So let's dig into how the teams can punch their playoff tickets. The 12-team college football playoff will feature the 5 highest-ranked conference champions, plus the next 7 highest-ranked teams as determined by the CFP selection committee. The 4 highest-ranked conference champions will be seeded 1 through 4 and receive first-round byes, with the 5th highest-ranked conference champion being seeded where it was ranked or at number 12 if its final ranking lands outside of the top 12. So that's who gets in, which brings us to where and when the games will be played. The 8 teams seeded 5 through 12 will play in the first round starting on December 20th, with the teams seeded 5 through 8 hosting a home game. Meaning the pageantry of on-campus college football is coming to the playoff for the first time. Man, that is going to be incredible. From there, the playoff will play out as dictated by the bracket with no reseeding between rounds. The quarterfinals and semifinals will be played at traditional New Year's Six bowl game locations, followed by the national championship game in Atlanta, where our first 12-team college football playoff national champion will be crowned on January 20th, only on ESPN.
So there you go. That is. So if you really dissect that and dive into it, that's why I wanted to go there with Reese, of how many realistic open slots there are. There's 5 conference champs that we have to deal with, honestly, in this tournament. And the top 4 get byes.
And then the 5th conference, though, is what?
You tell me.
It's the top... It's the top group of 5 winner? No, it's just
group of 5. Yeah, the top group of 5 winner is going to get a ticket to the dance.
And who are the 5? There's 4 conferences. There's not 5 conferences, correct?
Right now, Power 4. But yeah, they're talking about giving the Sun Belt an opportunity, giving the AAC an opportunity.
Well, which one?
The highest ranked among those.
I got you.
That is. So again, that takes
a group of 5, though.
That takes a ticket.
That's a group of 5.
Yeah, it is.
So they're going to be 2
Mountain
group of 5
West.
Teams? Are there going to be 2 group of 5 teams?
No, one group of 5 teams.
Oh, okay.
That is your Cinderella, your George
Unless
Mason.
it's like Cincinnati would have made it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something along those lines.
I got you.
Just something to keep in mind. And again, it's you're going to see Reese explain it. I'm sure on at least a weekly basis out of the gate there with Game Day. We are live here at Baumhower's Victory Grill. Also, we're sneaking up on the NFL season. It starts a week from Thursday. So John McClain is going to join us at the top of the 6th, and we're walking you up to Braves baseball. We'll see if they can field a team tonight. They've had quite a few injuries here over the last couple of weeks. And Max Fried now as well, also on the injured list to boot as well. Let's go ahead and take our first time out. Jeff, hang with us. We'll talk to you on the other side. We're live here from Baumhower's Victory Grill. We'll be right back.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your Rocket City Trash Pandas host the Chattanooga Lookouts tonight at 6:20 on Talk Radio WZZN, 97.7 HD2, and the Talk Radio WZZN app.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Eagle Masonry and Installation. It's right there in the name. Eagle is your one-stop shop for block, stone, or brickwork, monument signs, and outdoor kitchens and fireplaces. Eagle also offers the finest craftsmanship and insulation, including fiberglass or spray foam insulation, and of course, insulation removal. Philip Love and his team have years of experience, bringing the region the best in masonry and insulation services. For more information and a quote, visit insulatewitheagle.com or call 256-755-1556. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Our customers want best-in-class solutions. That's why we've recently added many new vendors like Zebra barcode printers. Our next level team has added premier automation solutions. We're not here to sell you just one product, and we love helping you find the right solution to your specific needs. That's what doing the right thing is all about, and that's why our customers have come back for over 50 years.
Hey folks, Bob Baumhauer here. We're extremely proud that Baumhauer's Victory Grill has been serving Alabama for 43 legendary years. Our motto is legendary fun, legendary food, and we strive to make every dining experience a special one for all of our guests. Our menu features delicious, always fresh and scratch-made in-house recipes. And of course, our award-winning wings and sauces. And don't forget, our happy hour and halftime daily specials cannot be beat. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
When I chose the Garage Door Company, I did my homework. I needed precision overhead garage door service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process. Power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that His mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Hey Huntsville, looking for action-packed events? The Huntsville Sports Commission is your hub for all things sports. From youth events to national tournaments, we've got events that thrill and inspire. Whether you're an athlete, a fan, or a volunteer, there's something for everyone. Cheer on your favorite teams, witness amazing talent, and be part of the excitement. Check out our event calendar and get involved at HuntsvilleSports.com. That's HuntsvilleSports.com. Be there, Huntsville.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at WoodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
Back here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill, put a spotlight on the inflation bites. A chance to grab some grub here at some reasonable prices, including the tailgate burger. How about the fajita wrap? There's also Bam Bam chicken. All on the inflation bites menu right here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. And I see one open table right in front of us. So come on by. And there is, some folks out there waiting as well for dinner ideas, and we're here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. 256-576-4977 is the telephone number. Jeff has called in. How are you, Jeff?
I'm well. How are you guys?
Doing real well.
That's great. Listen, I appreciate you taking my call. I greatly enjoy your show.
Appreciate that.
No problem. Listening to the explanation of the automatic qualifiers, you know, I'm pretty sure I understand all that. But here's my question. And granted, this is a really kind of out there hypothetical situation. But let's assume we get to a year where a conference, we'll say the ACC, has a really, truly bad year conference-wise, and their conference champion is 9-3, you know, maybe even 9-4, whatever. And the Mountain West Conference has an undefeated champion, as does the Sun Belt Conference. And somehow the ACC champion falls behind those two conferences in the rankings. Does that the 5 conference champions? Does that include the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, and then the Mountain West and the Sun Belt? Or the Power 4 conferences automatically?
So they never say even the SEC has an automatic qualifier. We all are assuming that, but they're just saying the top 5 conference champions.
I think that those teams would make it anyway. And then the ACC champion would, but the ACC champion, I don't think they would get a bye. I don't think both those teams would get a bye.
Well, no, if you're a conference champion.
Yeah, but the ACC would be outside the top 12.
I see what you're saying.
So they would be 12.
There'd be 4 other teams ahead of them. I see what you're saying, yeah.
So I don't think both those teams would get a bye. One, maybe, depending on where they're ranked. But I guess I thought we were told that it's not automatic if for any team to get a bye if they're conference champions.
No. That's conference champions. The top 4 conference champions immediately go into the 1 through 4 slot to make the conference championship game mean more.
That's my understanding. It's to put the emphasis, leave the emphasis on the conference championships.
Yes, but I've got a little problem with that, and I told Rich Clark that I think we are going to have a real debate come mid-December before we get to December 20th on the top 4 teams should be the top 4 teams. You know what I'm saying, Jeff? Because you have a conference championship does not make you a top 4 team.
Yeah, I mean, if the top 3 teams are Alabama, Ole Miss, and Florida, then that should be the 3 of the 4 buys, in my opinion. But I understand what they're doing. But anyway, hey, one more real quick question, then I'll let you guys go. If I were to introduce myself as Jeff from Makia So, you think I could get an NIL deal?
Someone's been listening to the morning show as well. Possibly. I'll say yes, Jeff.
All righty. I'm a millionaire in waiting. Hey, thank you guys. You guys have a great day, okay?
I've been one all my life.
So I did ask Rich Clark that question and wanted to play for you the question and answer, something that we all have an assumption to on the playoff committee.
Middle aisle on the near aisle.
Good morning, sir. Steve Moulton, WZZN out of Huntsville, Alabama. There is a lot of assumption, at least from what I'm hearing and a lot of media members hearing, that we're going to 14 teams rather than 12. And, of course, this is the first year of the 12. I was wondering the standpoint from the playoff committee of the assumption that we are all believing that we're going to go to 14.
Yeah, Steve, good question. So first, I would not make that assumption. But what we can not assume but know is that we're going to make this 12-team playoff as spectacular as we absolutely can. And then in good military fashion, after the operation is done, after the playoff is concluded, then we're going to hot wash. And we're going to look back and see what worked, what didn't, and how can we make it better, especially in the early days. I think it's important for us to be open-minded and not take things off the table so that we can look at it and see how could we actually make it better and not lock ourselves into anything right now. So there's a lot of talk about possibilities and potentials for what could be good, but we need to see how the 12-team playoff goes and then make that assessment afterwards. And that's where the commissioners stand too. So great question. Thank you for that.
That is my question that I had for Rich Clark last week at SEC Media Days. More than likely, I think we can all assume the jump up to 14 is going to happen. But if 12 is the right number, but if your eyeballs are going to be like my eyeballs, and that is watching every game that happens on December 20th and the 21st, and then the following weekend as well for the semifinals, and then all the way to January 20th, I think we all have that assumption that this thing is going to jump up from 12 to 14.
I don't know. It took them a long time. I can't believe they're at 12. I think 12 is too many. That's just
but when you really break it down, I mean, that's why I went there with Reese of how many open positions are there really. And he talked about 5 SEC teams.
Well, I mean, how can you not?
The opinion is 4. At least what I got.
He said it's possibly that either they're going to get 5 or the Big Ten will get 4. So you look at the top 5 teams, it could be easily, in my opinion, Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas, and then LSU, possibly.
Missouri.
Or Texas A&M, Missouri. Those 3 teams. I mean, Missouri could easily have 2 losses and not make it, though, because the rest of your schedule is kind of trash.
Yeah. Weak, yeah. Weaker.
It's weak, yeah. Trash isn't the right word. If you're playing the SEC, it's going to be a hard schedule, and there's going to be a team, like Missouri was last year, that's going to stick their head up and be hard to beat. I mean, I am really looking forward to the Tennessee-Missouri game, because that's kind of going to be a grudge match. I mean, they took Tennessee to the woodshed last year, and it was because they didn't like the way Tennessee treated them the year before, in their opinion, running up the score, in their opinion. It's their job to stop them. Anyway, that's going to be a fun game to watch. And the game I'm looking forward to the most is Texas A&M and Texas. And what if Texas A&M upsets Notre Dame? And then Notre Dame makes it? That'll help Texas A&M if they can have a decent season after that. Texas A&M is a 1-point favorite going to that game. And what is surprising to me is right now, Alabama's favored by 6 over Georgia in Vegas. And
that's right.
That says a lot to me. I'd like to soon go over the games Alabama isn't favored. Kind of look at that. They got a tough road schedule.
Say that again? You'd like to assume what now?
I'd like to see the games Alabama are not favored. If they're favored in the Georgia game, like I've been told,
yeah,
it's and like people I've heard from multiple people that they are favored.
I have not seen a line that Bama's not favored in.
That's what I'm saying. That's shocking to me. For that is.
But I mean, if you take a look at their roster and who's the head coach, why is that surprising?
Well, surprising because a lot of people were excited thinking Alabama was going to have a down year. Right?
Well, I mean, but who's really saying that?
People. I think it's more of people hoping. Because a bad year now is going to be 4 losses or getting blown out. Because we all know only Ohio State can lose at home by 3 touchdowns and make the playoffs. And then got beat by Purdue by 40 and still thought they got robbed. I mean, the people were amazing at Ohio State.
Let's talk. Actually, you know what, Mike? Hang with us. Let's take our final timeout. We are going to get you right on the other side of our final timeout here in hour number 1. John McClain going to talk some NFL with us at the top of the hour.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
This summer, make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Make it 0% financing, make it no down payment, and make no payments for 90 days. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. It's our Ford Summer Sales event, and I promise you can save serious dollars on a large selection of our 2024 Fords. We've got financing as low as 0% for 36 months on 2024 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, Edge, Escape, plus all-electric F-150 Lightning and Mustang Mach-E. And on all these Fords I just mentioned, you'll make no down payment and no payments for 90 days. Can you say Orange Beach, here we come? This is going to be a good summer. Come choose from over 550 new Fords, and you'll learn firsthand that nobody will work harder to earn your business. Brand new, award-winning Fords with 0% financing, no down payment, and no payment for 90 days with your good credit. This offer ends 9/3/24. Come see us today and make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
You want the right specialist for your recovery. At SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, we understand every body is different. Your muscles and bones are unique, as is your body. Our SportsMed specialists offer innovative treatments and minimally invasive procedures, allowing you to quickly return to the life you love. Locations in Huntsville, Madison, Athens, and Decatur, and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com. Improving performance, improving lives.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Looking for your next adventure to be out of this world but don't have enough money to buy a spaceship and leave orbit? Well, look no further than Divergence VR theme park off of Governor's Drive Southwest in Huntsville, Alabama. Are zombies more your style? How about driving your favorite cars on the world's fastest track? Or maybe a gorilla game that has you climbing up tall trees to escape other gorillas? Wait, that's actually a thing? Huh. Would you look at that? For whatever adventure you can dream of, call 256-203-4128 to get your VR adventure started now.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Maybe a couple of isolated showers as we head into the overnight. Otherwise, temperatures only going to drop into the upper 60s and lower 70s. Much the same as we head into your Thursday, a mostly cloudy to overcast sky. Temperatures climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be in the forecast. At times, some of those thunderstorms could be on the stronger end of the spectrum. Marginally severe thunderstorms are also going to be possible. Once again, dropping into the low 70s as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Everything you need is just a click away.
I should come up sometime, sue me.
Okay, almost everything.
Come up, I'll tell you a fortune.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. 977 ESPN The Zone.
Oldie but a goodie right here. Back here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill, along with Wes Neighbors. Steve Moulton back here with you. John McClain set to join us in about 10 minutes time-ish. Phone lines open to you, a couple of them, at 256-576-4977, the telephone number. Also, a big thank you to Fleming Roofing and Restoration. They were our title sponsor for yesterday's second annual high school media day, and always great to catch up with the 17 area schools that participated over at Toyota Field. In fact, getting ready to play some baseball tonight over at Toyota Field. You can find that game over on our sister station on HD.2, Talk Radio WZZN. HD.2 here on 97.7 on the FM dial. Mike, I promised I'd get right to you. Appreciate you holding, sir. How are you?
Doing great. Great show as always. I got a comment or maybe a question about the seeding, the playoffs.
You got it?
The top four, conference champions will be the 1 through 4 seeds. And it's kind of, the way you described it, going to be like an NFL model, where we've seen in years past in the NFL, a division champion might be 8-8 and host 11-5 wild card.
That's a good way to look at it. That's a very good way to look at it.
And I think that's what you may be shooting for there. I don't know. But in my other comment, you and Wes, a few months back, made a little wager on air. Wes said Georgia would lose 2 regular season games. Do you remember that?
I sure do. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to do one better. Georgia's going to have 2 losses by October 1.
Woo! Wait a second. Yeah. I need to take a look at this schedule. I know there's September game there in 21st. Alabama. Yeah.
That's correct. And they're going to lose the opener to Clemson.
Wow, you got them losing to Clemson out of the gate. That'd be a major hit for the SEC.
I got Clemson bouncing back. Dabo ain't going to stay down long. What do you guys think about that? Am I way off base?
I don't think you're way off base. I don't know if it'll happen or not. But what if me and Steve bet like $500, right?
I don't know what maybe.
See, I don't have Moulton Wealth Management, so.
Well, if you win the bet, you get
is that what it is?
Start.
Yeah, a good way to start. So you think 2 losses by October 1? Man.
I do, and I think Ole Miss gets them also.
Yeah, that'd be 3 losses.
I think Ole Miss beating them is. Wow.
Well, I see 3 potential L's, and you mentioned Texas, Alabama, Ole Miss. Those are the landmines that I see for Georgia.
Yeah.
But we shall see about Clemson. I just wasn't overly impressed with Klubnik last year for Clemson, but yeah, everybody can get better. So that's what I don't know. I hope you do, Mike.
Great show, guys. See you later.
Thank you, Mike.
I'm looking forward to seeing Clemson get better because their defense didn't play very good to me last year. And they had some really good defensive linemen that, to me, they looked like they were out of position. Does that make sense? I mean, it looked like they'd win some battles, but then weren't in a position to make the play, meaning maybe some of it was coaching, and maybe they can get that straightened out.
I just remember Alabama smashing them along the offensive and defensive front, and everybody could see it in Atlanta last December. On just that was easy to see.
Well, I think Jaden Robertson and the guy.
Are you talking about Booker?
Booker. Those guys, to me, are the best 2 guards in the game. I mean, Jaden Roberts on the run blocking. Now he has
77
on run blocking. Now he does. Jaden Roberts will get a beat occasionally because just little things, right? That you don't know what you don't know. But he's getting better and better. And he is so big. It's unbelievable how big and athletic he is. He is so athletic. And, you know, when you have two guards like that, you can have a plug or center as long as he gets the snap back, you know. And, you know, the two.
Well, that is going to be a difference for Bama this year, where Jalen Milroe's not going to have to.
Well, we hope, you know.
You would think.
Center gets the yips, and center gets the yips. So hopefully it won't happen this year.
Coming up on, we're just a little over a week away from the Hall of Fame game. Yeah, it's going to be on August 1st, and this just in August is next Thursday. In fact, we will be here back at Baumhauer's Victory Grill next Thursday for our usual rotation. By the way, I've never been happier the fact that Tom Abraham could not come by here today and that we had to flip. Darn it, as we're live here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. So I say that NFL little nugget for you to mention that we're going to talk to John McClain on the other side to talk a little preseason storylines with John next.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
There's power in caring when it is put into action. Each year, our bankers serve on nonprofit boards, support our local educators, and volunteer with our hometown food bank. I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryan Bank, and community service is just not a line item in our mission statement, it's who we are. Because after all, Alabama is our home too. That kind of commitment to community might not be what you would expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give us a call or stop by one of our 2 offices in the Huntsville area and experience unbeatable service and legendary results.
Bryan Bank Equal Housing Lender, NMLS ID 2428943, member FDIC.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Nick DeLuca. A couple of deals done in the NFL. The Vikings extending franchise tackle Christian Darrisaw, 2021 first-round pick, agreeing to a 4-year contract worth up to $113 million with $77 million guaranteed. Darrisaw has started 40 games over his first 3 NFL seasons. Guaranteed money for Darrisaw, the most for a tackle in the NFL. Meanwhile, Matthew Stafford reporting to Rams camp today with a new contract. Was due $31 million this season, with most of the next 2 years non-guaranteed. Stafford threw for 3,965 yards with 24 touchdowns in 2023. Darrisaw and Stafford done. Dak still waiting, entering the final year of his deal with lots of leverage in Dallas. ESPN's Adam Schefter thinks Prescott could get a historic payday.
And when that gets done, when that guy's got no conditions attached to his contract, and he can't be franchised, and he can't be transition tagged, and he can leave, and he can open up the bidding for his services, Dak Prescott's going to get a deal north of $60 million a year. It might be more, way more.
Schefter on unsportsmanlike. In baseball, the Pittsburgh Pirates come into play today, just half a game out of a playoff spot in the National League, taking on the Cardinals, who are only half a game in. Pittsburgh has won 8 of 10, sending Paul Skeens to the mound tonight. In his first start of the second half, Lance Lynn on the bump for the Cards. Scoreless in the bottom of the second. Skeens with 2 scoreless innings to start to go with the strikeout. Pirates minus 185 on ESPN Bet.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Kennedy. Coming up Wednesday, we continue our ESPN Rankem series with my top 5 college football players you should be on the lookout for your NFL team. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Back here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. When we are back here on August 1st, the Hall of Fame game will be front and center to start off the NFL campaign. And who knows, maybe one day that'll be a regular season game too. Everybody gets a regular season game. It's the Texans taking on the Bears a week from Thursday. And to help break it all down for us, he has been covering the National Football League for nearly 5 decades now. He's John McClain. You can check out his stuff at HoustonTexans.com, and they'll be up in Canton, Ohio. How are you, John?
I'm doing great, guys. How are you?
Doing real well.
So, John, I was sitting at lunch at Media Days, and there were 2 guys from Houston, and they were talking about Houston's head coach,
D'Amico
Ryans. And you're talking about they had love. Both of them had the little love symbols in their eyes while they were talking about him. And just talking about how unassuming and how just down to earth he is and what a great coach he is.
Well, he was that way when he played at Alabama. He was that way when he played for the Texans for 6 years and the Eagles for 4. And when he was hired by Kyle Shanahan for a quality control job in 2017, and they started 0-9, and everybody was questioning that staff. And then they turned it around at the end of that season and been good ever since. Not Super Bowl winning good. Maybe this will be the season. But D'Amico quickly rose up the ranks from quality control to linebackers to defensive coordinator his last 2 years. And he and Bobby Slowick, who was the passing game coordinator, and they had come in there together, had a pact that whichever one got a head coaching job first, he would take the other with him. Then D'Amico was hired here. Bobby was his offensive coordinator. Bobby interviewed for 5 jobs and came back here and got a raise and extension. And we all believe he'll be gone after this season. And D'Amico, of course, missed the Coach of the Year voting by 1 vote. He lost to Kevin Stefanski of the Browns. And people are like, well, what an injustice that was when they just annihilated the Browns in the wild card game. How could you vote for Kevin Stefanski over D'Amico Ryans? Well, the voting is just on regular season. And in regular season, Stefanski beat D'Amico. So even though D'Amico did a great job, and he is a rising star, they gave him a 6-year contract, and he told me before he interviewed that this was his dream job. And a lot of people are, why would any coach in his right mind come to Houston? They had just fired David Culley and Lovie Smith after 1 year. That's a terrible place to coach. Well, the people saying that didn't watch the Texans play, and we certainly understood why they made those moves. And then when they were able to get D'Amico, and he had offers for all 4 openings, and he told the Panthers no. His agent Jimmy Sexton did, and he was he interviewed at Denver, and he had interviews scheduled. There's 5 openings at Indy and Arizona, and the McNair family that owns the team, Hannah and Cal McNair primarily, they knew everybody wanted D'Amico. They wanted D'Amico, but they don't make the general manager, Nick Caserio, do things. They give him the resources. They'll tell him what they think, but he has final say. They sign off on it. So D'Amico, his first interview was on a Zoom, and Caserio ran it, and the McNair family, including the matriarch, Janice McNair, who was 86 then, they were all in there, as well as some other people. They did the interview, and after D'Amico got off, Hannah, Cal, and Janice McNair were holding their breath. And Caserio turned around to him, and he said, wow, we got to get him in here and not let him leave. And the McNair was like, whew. And so that's what happened. And he had Sexton call Arizona, Indianapolis, tell them thanks but no thanks. Told Denver that. It got out with, I believe it was Ian Rappaport, that the Broncos made one more run at him after they had basically committed, not in writing, to Sean Payton, and it was quickly leaked to Adam Schefter that wasn't true. Well, it was. They did get back to him. And that's how much in demand D'Amico was and how highly thought of he was. And I thought this time last year, okay, we don't know what kind of head coach he's going to be. You know, you want him to be good. He's got everything it takes to be good. He's an impressive talker. And they didn't know what they had in C.J. Stroud. And they knew what they had in Will Anderson Jr. And so then the way the season, the way it played out, everybody was shocked. Now people are picking them to be a Super Bowl contender. I'm not, because last year they beat up on a last place schedule in the worst division in the NFL, the NFC South. It's so funny. They lost to Atlanta. They lost at Atlanta and Carolina, both on field goals with no time left. And then they beat the Buccaneers and the Saints in Houston. And so this year they play a first-place schedule that includes 5 defending division champions. They have 11 of 17 games against teams with winning records. And I've never seen a group of quarterbacks a team is playing as good as this. And I'll see if I can get the top ones. They're playing Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Tua Tagovailoa, Lamar Jackson, Caleb Williams. They may get J.J. McCarthy and Drake May, although they still could be backups. Trevor Lawrence, Anthony Richardson, Will Levis. They have a murderer's row of quarterbacks, which is one reason Caserio signed 14 defensive free agents, including 5 free agent cornerbacks, used their first draft choice, second overall on Georgia corner, Kamari Lassiter, and re-signed 5 of their defensive free agents because on offense, D'Amico will never admit this, they have one starting job open, left guard. On defense, they could have 5. And one of the things that's the most impressive about D'Amico, when I wrote a column on HoustonTexans.com where I write now, and there's no paywall, about the reason they had success last year, a big reason, and could have this year, is the relationship between Caserio and Ryan, because Caserio tries to get Ryan's the kind of players he wants. And D'Amico has position-specific players he wants. He doesn't just want 2 really good defensive tackles. They have to do things differently. And they let both of their defensive tackles go. And Sheldon Rankins in free agency, they offered him a $2 million raise, and he got a $4 million raise from Cincinnati at 30. And they traded Malik Collins, a 3-year starter, to the 49ers, and they did not draft a defensive lineman high or sign a defensive tackle in free agency. So they have 3 great pass rushers, Will Anderson Jr., Daniil Hunter, who had 16.5 sacks last year, Danico Autry, who had 11.5. And the biggest question in camp, and we asked D'Amico because he makes the calls almost every day about their defensive tackles. What are they going to do? Well, I say trust in D'Amico Ryans because he knows what he's doing. He proved that last year.
Wow. I mean, there's a lot to chew on right there. And of the bigger questions, we just heard from SportsCenter top of the hour about potential money heading to Dak Prescott. I mean,
they're saying $60 million a year. How do you pay a non-winning? I mean, have they won a playoff game? One? I'm not sure.
He won a playoff game. He played great in a playoff loss that wasn't his fault. But the fact is, he has a reputation of not coming up big in playoff games. He doesn't elevate the players around him. Now, Kirk Cousins didn't. Kirk Cousins got one. He hadn't won a playoff game. I think he's been in one, and he got an incredible contract. And, of course, he turned around and drafted Michael Penix. But the point is, the Cowboys have mishandled his contract from the get-go more than any team I've ever seen with a quarterback. You know, he's a fourth-round pick at a four-year contract. He plays immediate starter. I think they were 12-4, and they waited till the end to re-sign him. They franchised him every time they could have signed him. They've waited, and it's cost them a lot more money. And if they had signed him in March, before Trevor Lawrence signs for $55 million, and Jordan Love's about to sign, and I don't know why they gave him the clause that said they wouldn't franchise him anymore. Some teams do that, and that's never works out, because then you give the player all the leverage. Now, they don't have anybody behind him. Trey Lance, Cooper Rush, Jerry Jones is going to be 81 or 82. He don't want to start over with a rookie. So Dak has got Jerry by the footballs, and he's squeezing. And he's squeezing really hard. And Jerry's going to be talking up $60 million a year, and Cowboy fans aren't going to like it. And he's going to have another great regular season. Last year, he led the NFL touchdown passes, second MVP voting. But I think, and I don't know if they'll have to spread it out. So I think Dak's 31. He could play another 10 years or more, since players are now quarterbacks want to play into their 40s. So he's coming back, and no matter how much a lot of Cowboy fans don't like it, there's nothing they can do about it.
Do you have any advice for us now that Texas is firmly planted in the SEC for us, John? Because that was a lot to take in last week. I'm just going to be honest with you. You've had to put up with it for a longer time than I have.
My whole life. Just the fact that, first of all, I do 2 shows a week in Nashville, and I've told you guys this before.
Yes, sir.
The Longhorns will run the SEC like they ran the Southwest Conference and the Big 12. And I know Nick Saban shot that down while he was at SEC Media Days. And I'm thinking, how can you trust a guy that can't even remember his media badge? Nick, it has nothing to do with them winning. It has to do with their money and their political clout that they have in Washington nationally. And I told them in Nashville, because they all said, Texas isn't going to run the SEC. I said, well, why don't you have an SEC Media Days in Dallas? And they're like, I said, because the Longhorns wanted it. And I was at the Texas High School Coaches Association convention Sunday and Monday in San Antonio, 18,000 coaches. Every Division I coach comes to that, and they do a panel. And they have them all up there, and Craig Way, the voice of the University of Texas, he conducted the panel. And I loved watching his Sarkisian, and I like just seeing all those coaches answer the questions, see who are the best talkers and everything. And Sark has got just an air about him. And I know he's not an uppity guy, I don't think, but he just, because he's at UT, and I love it that they're calling it TEX, because you already got a UT. And you asked Steve, I can't remember if Steve or Wes asked.
Yeah, it was me.
Okay, I'll tell you. Horns down, baby. Horns down. They hate it. The Longhorns hate it. Their fans hate it. Now, the players can't do it and taunt. And that BS about going to penalize them, like it's going to hurt them. And but I know they don't like it, and I've grown up with it. Nebraska left the Big 12 because it didn't want the Longhorns telling them what to do. I had a football fan ask me the other day, what conference is Nebraska in? And that just shows you what happened to Nebraska. The Aggies left because they didn't want the Longhorns telling them what to do. Have the Aggies done squat in football since they left, other than one good year by Jimbo and Kevin Sumlin's year with Johnny Football?
Yeah.
And they didn't want him in the SEC, weren't privy to those negotiations because they know what's coming. So beat them, do the horns down. As I hosted a panel yesterday in San Antonio, with Jackie Sherrill, played for Bear Bryant.
Yeah.
And I pointed out that Jackie, when he was at Pitt, he started the NIL program, continued it at A&M and Mississippi State.
Uh-huh.
And I had Wade Phillips, Michael Bishop, great college quarterback, went in the College Football Hall of Fame last year. Kenny Houston, greatest strong safety in history, and 2 longtime high school coaches in Houston and athletic directors. And I had a panel with them for an hour and 10 minutes talking about recommendations that they would give. Wade Phillips was also there. They would give high school coaches today, based on their careers, what they know now, because all of them played high school football, and some of them, like Wade, coached at every level. And the fact that the NIL program is out of control, they're giving money to parents. At some point, some 6-foot kid at 12 years old who weighs 250, his parents are going to start getting paid. And how it is out of control, and how do you handle it? How do the high school coaches handle it? At some point, people are going to be coming, parents, and saying, well, how much can you give my son? Or he's going to transfer. I know a couple of really good players in Houston are already on their 3rd high schools. It's illegal as hell, but they keep transferring. And you know their parents are getting the money. So it was really fun listening to those coaches. And I thought Baylor was smart enough years ago to grab on to the Longhorns' coattails and just let them lead the way. And the worst thing about Texas leaving the Big 12, we don't give a rat's you-know-what about Oklahoma. But the bad thing about Texas leaving, if you're a Baylor Bear, Houston Cougar, Red Raider, anything, especially in Texas, when you beat the Longhorns, especially in football, the only other feeling better than that is sex.
Oh, man. I'm just going to let that soak up in a biscuit there for a second. The NFL going to 18 games. It feels like, this is the other storyline that is kind of dominating the headlines. What's your thoughts on when is this going to happen, you think, John?
I think it'll be in 2027. And the reason they're going to it is, why do they do anything? More money.
Money.
I've never understood if, like, Alabama and Auburn and Georgia, they don't need to play preseason games. Why does the NFL need it? When I started covering the NFL, the Oilers in 77, they played 6 preseason games. Training camp was 8 weeks. And now it's basically 4 weeks, no double days, no full contact. They don't put on pads for 3 days because the players need time to adjust. And when West played, they did double days, full contact, right at the first day of camp. Because that's how players are supposed to get in shape, was training camp. Now they stay in such great shape because they have everything they want at these multi-million-dollar facilities, and in Cowboys' case, billion, in which they can eat 3 meals a day. They have everything you want there. And to try to get them to come there as much as possible, and because their careers last longer and they make more money than they've ever made, they come in camp, they come in shape. And used to, and Wes, there's some guys used to not be in shape.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to get on a head coach's bad side, you report out of shape. I remember one year, I can't remember if I've told you guys this, but it's worth telling again. They came in, the Oilers would come in, and they would have drills to see what kind of shape they were in. And Earl Campbell, their Hall of Fame running back, who led the NFL in rushing his first 3 years, couldn't finish the mile. And we all ran to Bum Phillips after practice, the head coach. Bum, Earl couldn't finish the mile. What do you think about it? And he spit a chaw at the back, and he goes, well, when it's 3rd and a mile, we won't give it to him.
That might be the best answer ever.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
So, they're going to 18 games. There'll be 2 preseason games, which, getting rid of preseason, they're just scrimmages now. and let them have more joint practices. That's what coaches like anyway. Give them 2 bye weeks. You know, the fact of the matter is you could play the Super Bowl in April, and only people cared would be Major League Baseball, the NBA, and NHL, because that's their time. But the fact is, you can back the Super Bowl up. Cities that host it have to keep every weekend in February available, hotels and everything else, in case something happens that causes them to have to delay the Super Bowl, like, say, a pandemic. It hasn't happened, but that's what you have to do. So they could have 2 bye weeks. That's what the players are going to insist on. The players want to be off and then report for training camp earlier. Problem with that, your young guys don't have time to adjust. And if you give players 2 months off, you talk about a lot of guys at the fat man's table, you're going to have a lot of guys, especially linemen, at that fat man's table on diets having to lose weight. But if that's what the players want and they'll take less money and the owners get more money, then that's the way it's going to be.
Well, they should have paid us more to have to go to San Angelo, Texas. That's all I'll say.
Well, the worst part I thought of going to San Angelo was the long drive out there. And, you know, it was hot. Having the double days at 7 in the morning and 7 at night, hell, there was no internet then. We played 18 holes of golf between y'all's practices. And it was a lot of fun. Now you can do that because you got to worry about information 24/7. But today, more and more teams stay at their facilities because but there's a few that like to get away. I always like to get away. West San Antonio, the Texans, the Oilers, had training camp in San Antonio 8 years. It was the greatest I'd ever seen, the greatest setup. And when they left and moved to Tennessee, the Cowboys wanted to have training camp there at Trinity University, which is Texas' most expensive school. And they had everything perfect for an NFL team. They told the Cowboys, no way to come, and they would tromp on the flowers and mess up our campus so they wouldn't let the Cowboys say it go back to California.
Wow. So, what do the Titans do now? Don't they go to West Virginia or something? Who goes to West Virginia?
They play right there at their facility.
New Orleans, maybe?
No, the Titans are right there in Nashville at their facility.
Somebody goes to West Virginia.
The Browns do it now. The Texans did it 2 years. The Saints did it 3 years. And I wish the Texans did it every year because at the Greenbrier in West Virginia, every morning you had to wear a pullover because it was so cool. Mountains everywhere. Great little town, Lewisburg, kind of an artsy town. I had a blast there for 2 years. And Rick Smith, the GM's wanted to go there. Coach Bill O'Brien didn't. So when Rick was out, Bill wanted to go back to Houston. And the owner, Cal McNair, loved it. And I told him, you are the owner. You're the boss. Tell them we're going back to West Virginia. But like I said, they didn't make them do anything. But that was a fabulous place. And I don't blame the Browns wanting to go back.
Of all the moves, and we're obviously, I pay a whole lot more attention to the college football scene than I do NFL, but it's hard not to notice Derrick Henry landing in Baltimore just feels like a perfect fit. And for someone who's got a decent amount of mileage on him, he still has, I think, some gas in the tank. What do you think about that fit of Derrick Henry with the Ravens?
People kind of forget Derrick didn't get a lot of carries early in his career.
Yes, sir.
So it wasn't like he got worn out at Alabama and then came in and was getting 300 carries a year. And he missed half of one season, and he works like a fiend. And I think the Cowboys made a huge mistake not getting him. You know, they don't have a running game. Zeke Elliott coming in there is not the answer, which is going to put even more pressure on Dak Prescott. And they flirted with Derrick Henry. But you're right; it's the perfect place. He faced 8-man fronts almost all the time in Nashville. If he faces 8-man front, Lamar Jackson's going to run around the outside. So I think Derrick Henry, he had almost 1,200 yards. He had double-digit touchdowns, and people are like, well, his career's over. He set the bar high. I picked him to win the Super Bowl last year, and I was looking pretty good until they blew it against the Chiefs at home in the championship game. And so now I'm going to pick him again. I'm going to pick him because I think Derrick Henry's going to put him over the top and take a lot of pressure off Lamar Jackson. And I just think it's the perfect of all the free agent moves that I watched, that's the one that I thought was the most ideal for a team that needed a free agent to help them get to the next level. And in the next level for them is a Super Bowl. Lamar Jackson, he hadn't been to a Super Bowl. He's had 2-time MVP, and I think there's a good chance Derrick Henry's going to help him get there.
Well, that answers my next question because it really does feel, at least listening to the heads on ESPN and Fox, that we're just all basking in Kansas City's glow of going back to the Super Bowl yet again.
Nobody had won back-to-back since the Patriots in the early 2000s, and the Chiefs last year, they weren't great regular season.
Oh yeah.
And then they turned it on in the playoffs. And a lot of people, you have to pick them, but no team has ever won 3 in the Super Bowl era. Lombardi won, I think, 5 in a row. That was before the last 2 were in the Super Bowl, or 4 out of 5. And so could they? Sure. They got Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Andy Reid became a great coach when he got a great quarterback. It's funny how that works, isn't it? And
yeah.
So their defense helped them as much as Mahomes did. Steve Spagnuolo became the highest paid defensive coordinator in the NFL. And everybody loves Andy Reid. But the odds are they're not going to do it. And I'm sticking with the Ravens. When the Ravens won their last one, I picked them, and they won it, and I could bask in my prediction, not pointing out all the others I blocked. And so I'm doing that again. But I hope they play the 2 of them. And the team you can't count out in the AFC is Cincinnati with Joe Burrow. Well, every bad team in the NFL that's finished in last place is using the Texans as an example of what can happen to go from worst to first. And the Titans are talking about that, and people say, well, who's the best candidate? Most people are picking the Bears. No, I'm picking the Bengals. They finished in last place because Joe Burrow missed half the season with an injury, and now he's back. And they might be the legitimate Super Bowl contender in the AFC right there with Kansas City and Baltimore. Of course, San Francisco is still in the NFC. There's so much pressure on Caleb Williams. Last year, D'Amico Ryans would not say that Stroud was going to start. We said he was. We knew he was. And they would rotate first-team reps with the Davis Mills, who'd started the previous 2 years. D'Amico wanted everybody to know when the time came to name him, he had earned it. He had earned it over Davis Mills, the previous starter, and Case Keenum, the much-traveled former starter with multiple teams. And then he named him, and then, of course, it worked, where the Bears anointed Caleb Williams from the get-go. He didn't have to earn it. And that's asking a lot of a rookie quarterback to put that kind of pressure on him that they're doing. And of course, they're saying, hey, the Texans do it with Stroud. We can do it with Williams. But the Bears have been bad for a long time. The Bears have never had a quarterback throw for 30 touchdowns ever in their history. That's like the Browns have had one 4,000-yard season, and that was Brian Sipe in 1980. And the reason is where their stadiums are located. It's windy so much you can't throw the ball. You have to have running games. So they're going to expect Caleb Williams to come in there, and he's used to playing in Oklahoma and and all of a sudden, the wind's going to be blowing off Lake Michigan like he's never seen, and he's going to have to adjust his game. And I hope, the Texans first, they start the Hall of Fame, they play the Hall of Fame game against the Bears, and then they open their first game at home. Texans open at Indy, where they finished the last 2 years and won both. And then they host the Bears. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing Caleb Williams. We're not going to see much, I don't think, in that first game. But I hope he is able to do what the Bears are hoping he'll do. And the fans and media are all aboard on that Caleb Williams bandwagon. But, boy, you guys know it's tough to play quarterback in the NFL.
No doubt about that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to me because I think he threw a lot of, to me, bad. He was very inconsistent last year compared with the year before.
And I don't know if that's his defense was so bad and they had to play catch up all the time. But with first year out there, he was tremendous, picked up right where he left off at OU and showed that natural improvement. But last year, the team just wasn't as good around him. He took a lot of chances. He made some bad decisions. And the scouts and general managers kind of chalked that up to the team and not him. And people ask what coach is on the hottest seat. And I say, well, Matt Eberflus, because he's got the top pick, and he's got a quarterback the Bears think's going to take him to the playoffs. And he's a defensive coach. And if he's out, when he's out, they'll bring in a head coach who was an offensive coach, because that's what they always do. So I think Eberflus, who's a really good defensive coach, and the offensive coordinator he's got, he was in Seattle, and so there's a lot of questions involving that team, and it starts at the top with the head coach and the quarterback, and the pressure both are under.
John, you're the best. Can't thank you enough for the time that you give us, and always learn so much. And I did find out from John McDade, who's the SEC coordinator of officials, that horns down will not be a penalty unless you do it in front of your opponent, and then it will be taunting. But that's just like the chomp down in some realms. It's nearly not as popular as horns down, but technically not a penalty unless you do it in a taunting manner, according to John McDade.
Well, what in the world are all those Alabama fans going to do with their beer when they're doing horns down?
You can do it with one hand, John.
Well, you know that very well, I'm sure. Thank you guys very much as always.
Thank you, John. You're the best. You can follow John on X at McLean_on_NFL.
If you have two kids, you can give both beers to them and do it with two hands.
Oh, goodness. The Braves are currently in a rain delay. We are walking you up to Braves and Redlegs. Let's go ahead and take our first time out. We'll open it up to the phone lines for you on the other side. It is The Drive live here from Baumhauer's Victory Grill.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Your Rocket City Trash Pandas host the Chattanooga Lookouts tonight at 6:20 on Talk Radio WZZN, 97.7 HD2, and the Talk Radio WZZN app.
This summer, make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Make it 0% financing, make it no down payment, and make no payments for 90 days. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. It's our Ford Summer Sales event, and I promise you can save serious dollars on a large selection of our 2024 Fords. We've got financing as low as 0% for 36 months on 2024 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, Edge, Escape, plus all-electric F-150 Lightning and Mustang Mach-E. And on all these Fords I just mentioned, you'll make no down payment and no payments for 90 days. Can you say Orange Beach, here we come? This is going to be a good summer. Come choose from over 550 new Fords, and you'll learn firsthand that nobody will work harder to earn your business. Brand new, award-winning Fords with 0% financing, no down payment, and no payment for 90 days with your good credit. This offer ends 9/3/24. Come see us today and make it a Woody Anderson Ford. Hope to see you soon.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com. Next time you're online looking for landscaping inspiration, open Instagram and check out Southern Gent Landscaping. They can help make your yard your dream outdoor oasis. Southern Gent Landscaping can handle it all, from landscape maintenance and installation to irrigation and hardscapes, even AstroTurf. Turn your yard into a landscape you'll be proud to show off. Call Southern Gent Landscaping at 256-509-6088. 509-6088. Southern Gent Landscaping. Professional landscaping performed with satisfaction guaranteed.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at GenSuperstore.com.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com.
Well, I love a rainy night. I love a rainy night. I love to hear the thunder, watch the lightning when it lights up the sky. You know it, man?
Well, we do have some raindrops on the way. Trash Pandas are playing right now, but we do have some rain on the way, and that is certainly the order of the night right now over in Marietta, just north of the perimeter there in the ATL, as they are in a rain delay. Phone lines open to you as we're live here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. He's Wes Neighbors. I'm Steve Moulton, and have a chance to squeeze in some phone calls if you'd like to climb aboard. 256-576-4977 is the telephone number, 256-576-4977. Our partners over at VEASAN. In fact, this is Steve Mackin, who came on with us right before we went to Media Days. His 10 teams to project to go over their DraftKings projected win total props. His first team, the Auburn Tigers. Auburn set at 7.5. He likes Auburn to win more than 7 for an 8-win season for Hugh Freeze in his second season. And if you really go and look at Hugh Freeze's second seasons, be it at Liberty, at Ole Miss, and heck, I'll even throw in Lambeth, that there was significant improvement. I believe Ole Miss was 8-4 in his second year there at Ole Miss. So 7.5 is the number for Hugh Freeze, but VEASAN likes Auburn to go over 7.5 wins this season. Second on the list is garnering a lot of bets from the betting public out there to not only go over their win total, but I read a story earlier today on foxsports.com, and I thought I had it. Yeah, there it is. But I wanted to, the over-under win total for the Colorado Buffaloes is 5.5 wins. Now, VEASAN likes them to go over 5.5, but the story from Fox Sports that caught my eye, Wes, was that the number to win the national championship has gone down simply because of the amount of the public that is betting on Colorado to win the national championship. They started out at 200 to 1. Well, those odds have gone down to 125 to 1 simply because of the amount of, it's the fourth most bets currently right now being placed to win the national championship.
I need them to change it to my number. I'll take that all day long. There's no way.
So 5.5 is the win total, and Beeson likes them to go over 5.5, but that is a far cry.
I get that.
That's a far cry from winning the national championship.
They can win more than 5 games. I think they have an easier schedule than they did last year, but not a schedule to win the national championship because they don't have a team to win it. But 200 to 1 odds,
yeah,
that's pretty good odds.
Well, it's down to 125 to 1.
Yeah.
Because of the amount of money that's being thrown at the Buffaloes.
It's a better bet for me.
Some other teams that Beeson likes, again, these are the draft total win totals. Florida, 4.5 wins is the win total for the Florida Gators. 4.5, but Beeson likes the Gators to go over that win total of 4.5. Likewise, 4.5 is the win total for Hawaii under third-year head coach Timmy Chang. 4.5 is the win total for Hawaii. 5 is the number for the Fighting Bielema's in Illinois. And that is also the case for our partners over at Beeson. They like Illinois to go over 5 wins in the Big Ten this year. Nebraska, that's set at 7.5 wins. This is one team that I'm quietly hearing more and more from Matt Rule on him putting in his pieces. And I just don't know whether or not the black shirts are going to look like the black shirts.
They're never going to look like the black shirts. I don't know what their schedule is, but man, they're just, I don't think they're a top-level team in any sense of the imagination.
Well, you know what? I'm curious to see the schedule myself for Nebraska because I'm quietly hearing more and more of a dark horse, and they are in the Big Ten for those of you that don't know, but it changes, it feels like, minute to minute. But here is the schedule for Nebraska. They open up with UTEP. Then that's followed by...
UTEP's not a bad team, though.
No, the Miners. They have 4 consecutive games at Memorial Stadium to start off the schedule. It's UTEP, Colorado, Northern Illinois, and Illinois before they go on the road at Purdue. Purdue is picked last, according to the media, in the Big Ten media days. Then a home game against Rutgers, at Indiana, at Ohio State. The Ohio State. Play host to UCLA, at USC, host Wisconsin, and then at Iowa.
They can win. That's not too bad.
7.5 is the number. And I wonder how many SEC fans right now are saying, I'd sign up for that schedule.
All of them.
Just about. Just about. UCLA is a mess. Rutgers is a mess. Purdue is a mess. I don't know enough to say anything.
I thought Rutgers was supposed to be better this year.
What, Schiano is still up there.
Yeah.
I'd have to study up a little bit more on the Scarlet Knights. But, yeah, they did perform better last year. But, I mean, how many wins did Rutgers have last year? That was a 7-win team last year.
Yeah,
winners of the Pinstripe Bowl.
They're supposed to be I think they're supposed to be pretty good. They're not great, but he's a good coach.
4 wins the previous year for Schiano. And so maybe a little bit of an uptick, maybe. But as I mentioned, the Big Ten released their leaderboard, the big board, if you will. I told you the team at the bottom, and that's Purdue, according to the Big Ten media. We'll dive into a little bit on who's at the top on that list, because after all, after talking to Reese, there is the multiple bid conferences we are assuming the SEC and the Big Ten going to get multiple teams into this first year of this 12-team playoff. Let's take our final time out. We're live here from Baumhauer's Victory Grill, walking you up to the Braves rain delay show. Oh, yeah, you heard me.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Are you feeling tired? Are you feeling sluggish? Gentlemen, Game Day Men's Health. Game Day Men's Health is here to help you. Braden is here. Braden, you've got the answers.
Thanks, Scott. Whether it's low T, erectile dysfunction, weight loss, or a number of other things, we have a solution for them.
It's Game Day Men's Health. Give them a call today at
256-850-1570.
You can find them online.
GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
Hey! What man wouldn't like to have tests done in a man cave?
That's right. Come in for your free test and consultation, walk into a world-class staff, a comfortable, relaxed environment, and we got your results in about 20 minutes with appointments less than an hour.
And the big game is always on the TV. It's Game Day Men's Health. Give them a call.
256-850-1570.
You can find them online at GameDayMen'sHealth.com/Huntsville/The Zone.
No representation is made that the quality of the legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
This is Wes Neighbors sitting here with Stan McDonald. Stan, tell everybody why you're the best damn dirt lawyer in North Alabama.
Yes, Wes, at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. You know I'm a dirt lawyer, and a lot of our friends know that, which means we specialize in real estate. Now, if you own real estate or you're buying it or you're selling it, you need to do a closing, but a lot of times there's legal issues associated with that. We're a great group to talk to. My son, Lewis McDonald, heads our commercial closing division, and we approach your real estate needs very seriously. We seek to be the premier real estate closing company in North Alabama, and we do it in such a way it shows that we're experienced, we're for your success. We like to handle your real estate needs the same way Coach Dan Reeves used to say, never let them see you sweat. And that's going to be to your benefit, too, when you visit us at Jacob Title and the Stanton Law Firm. Our website online is jacobtitle.com.
The new favorite place for delicious Mexican food is Coralejos Mexican Grill in Huntsville. Check out their reviews on Facebook and you'll see what people are raving about. Enjoy drink specials all day Monday through Thursday, like house margaritas for $3.99 and 12-ounce drafts for $2. Even vegan-friendly entrees on Monday starting at 5. Bingo every Monday night, too, starting at 7. Coralejos Mexican Grill, 1658 Old Monrovia Road in Huntsville. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram to stay updated on their specials.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. Maybe a couple of isolated showers as we head into the overnight. Otherwise, temperatures only going to drop into the upper 60s and lower 70s. Much the same as we head into your Thursday, a mostly cloudy to overcast sky. Temperatures climbing into the upper 70s and lower 80s. Scattered showers and thunderstorms are going to be in the forecast. At times, some of those thunderstorms could be on the stronger end of the spectrum. Marginally severe thunderstorms are also going to be possible. Once again, dropping into the low 70s as we head into the overnight, early into your Friday morning. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Listen weekday afternoons starting at 5 on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
It's perfect!
Back here at Baumhauer's Victory Grill, final call for phone calls. Walking you up to the Braves rain delay show, and then potentially Braves and Reds. You'll have more day baseball scheduled. I need to tell Tom to be on the lookout for the weather forecast for tomorrow. I think we're supposed to get some more raindrops. Anyway, the projected order of finish from the Big Ten media looks like this. First place is Ohio State. They received 8 first-place votes. I don't know how many members of the media are actually voting on this. Number 2 is Oregon. They had 5 first-place votes. Then a tie for third with Michigan and Penn State, followed by USC. Then Iowa 6th. Wisconsin 7th. Don't sleep on Wisconsin. 8th is Nebraska. 9 is Washington. 10 is Rutgers. 11 is Maryland. 12 is Michigan State. 13 is Row Your Boat. That's Minnesota. They appear to be drowning, according to the media. And 14 is UCLA. Illinois is 15. Indiana 16. Northwestern 17. And Purdue is predicted to finish last, according to the media up there in Indianapolis for Big Ten Media Days, for whatever that's worth. Also coming up is the Olympics. You'll never guess who a torchbearer is going to be before we launch these games. The opening ceremonies occur on Friday. If you had Snoop Dogg as a torchbearer, you win. I didn't see that one coming.
He's been torching all his life.
I wonder.
There's nobody.
He's overqualified.
Very overqualified.
Yes. It does. So what I did not know is that he is going to be a special correspondent for the 2024 Summer Games.
So let me tell you, if you haven't watched him doing the Animal Channel stuff.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, my goodness.
It's great.
Didn't I send you a video one time?
Yeah.
We didn't play it, though, did we?
No. But he did have an interview with, this is Access Hollywood. He is a grandfather now. Snoop Dogg is a grandfather and was asked the following.
Now, Snoop, what do your grandbabies call you?
Papa Snoop.
Papa Snoop?
Yeah, like Papa Smurf.
Papa Snoop?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Papa Snoop.
He acted like he couldn't believe they didn't know that.
Yeah, what else would you call me?
Yeah.
Like Papa Smurf, it's Papa Snoop.
Oh, my goodness.
But the fact that he is going to be a special correspondent for NBC has not gotten nearly enough attention out there, because he's done hockey in the past, and he's jumped on sports. He's got a bowl game. And by the way, this does go into a little bit of, I have reached out to Snoop's people to get him on to be one of our college football analysts. And they love the idea. We are just trying to figure out the best time to get Snoop on And my answer is anytime he has availability.
I forgot.
What are we going to do with Snoop's cell phone number?
But that's real, by the way. In fact, when this story came out about him being a torchbearer, it did make me want to reach back out to his PR person and just kindly remind them about the college football agreement that we had for this fall. Now, they've agreed to 2. He said 1, but we'll see how good that one is, and it may be 2. I was teased with a potential second interview, but we need to get to that first one more than anything. So I'm working on it. And I know our reach. I mean, we've had phone callers from Australia.
This is true.
So if you know Snoop Dogg, or you know somebody that knows Snoop Dogg, by all means, you can help me produce that, and I would thoroughly appreciate that in a big, big way. I'm sorry, not just Snoop.
Now, Snoop, what do your grandbabies call you?
Papa Snoop.
Papa Snoop.
Papa Snoop.
Yeah, like Papa Smurf.
Papa Snoop. So if you know Papa Snoop, then by all means, if you'd like to help us, I would greatly appreciate that.
That is awesome.
But he is, the opening ceremonies come up on Friday, and my favorite storylines that I'm getting from all of this experts is that this dream team, basketball-wise, is better than the dream team back in '92.
Oh, that's a joke. No way.
The person that's going to carry the flag for the United States, have you seen this?
No.
Is going to be LeBron James. And it was voted on by the other athletes. That LeBron James.
Is he going to kneel? Is he going to crawl on his knees?
See, I didn't go there in my head, but.
Oh, yeah. I mean, here's what it is.
We'll see. That'd be a crawl, I guess.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe. I think the Atlanta games, I think, were 30.
1996.
Yeah, 96. Someone told me 38 years. 30? No, that can't be right. 30.
96, for those of you that can count,
I can't.
28 years. Yeah.
Is that 28?
Yeah.
30 would be the previous decade.
It was my first Olympics at Channel 48, and it was quite the deal.
Yeah.
That was the Muhammad Ali carrying the torch. That was at the end. He came out there.
And I was about just as
shaking.
Yeah.
Oh man, that got me, dude.
It really did. Braves rain delay show is next. We'll see whether or not they'll play baseball. We'll all find out together.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. Alabama! Your home of the Crimson Tide Sports Network.
To get Hunter Pence at the trade deadline. That was 2010, I believe. And 2011, Chris Caldwell's telling me, 2011, they get all these years start running together. You know how that is. Yeah. And